fractions. Before we start this lesson, you guys need to do a little prep work on a piece of paper and create some fraction strips here. So what I did is I just took a piece of copy paper and I created a fraction strip for 1 whole, and then for 1/2, and all the way down 1/3, 4ths, 5ths, 6ths, 8ths, 10ths, and 12ths. So go ahead and pause the video, get out a piece of paper, make sure you can see this because I want you to create this. And this will be kind of like your visual for doing fractions in this unit. So go ahead and pause the video and create that. And then when you're done, just click play and we'll continue with the lesson. All right, so now that you have this printed, or not printed, I guess you could print it, I guess, if you had a printer, but it's really nice to make this on your own because then you have a good idea of what fractions look like and how they compare with each other. So here's your objective right here, 9-4. I will use number lines to estimate sums and differences of fractions. Okay. So for this problem that we're going to work on together, I'm going to talk to you about, is going to be based off the fraction strips. Fraction strips could also be thought of as a number line. For example, you see here, if you zoom in, I have a 0 here. That would be like your tick mark for 0. And then 1 would be here. That's 1 whole. That's one number line from 0 to 1. This number line would be from 0, and then 1/2, and then 1. So you can think of these as number lines broken up into its different units, like thirds, fourths. This number line is broken up into fifths, and so forth. Okay, so we're going to use that to help us solve this problem. All right, so let's go over our problem that we're going to do together, and here it is. Jack needs about 1.5 yards of string. He can choose only 2 pieces from the following. So I want you to imagine that there's already 3 pieces of string laid out on the table for him. One is 2/5 of a yard, one is 1/6 yard, and one is 7/8 yard. He can only choose 2 of these, and he's trying to get as close to 1.5 yards of string as he can. So you're trying to think, okay, what would he choose the 1/6? Would he choose the 7/8? Would he choose these 2? How can we use these fraction strips here to help us solve this problem? Okay. So what I would like you to do is try to figure it out on your own. See if you can decide which of these pieces of string, which 2 of these would he use to get close to 1.5 yards. This is his total amount that he needs for whatever project that he's doing. See, I'm boxing in keywords. Underlining the question, which is not, but basically he needs 1.5 yards of string. Again, these are some key words, numbers. Okay, so if you didn't pause it, go ahead and pause it and try to see which 2 of these he would need to get 1.5 yards. All right, so now let's look at our fraction strips. Well, we know that we can only look at the fraction strip that is in fifths. So let's look at that one here. Here's fifths. Okay, and then we're looking at the 6, and we're looking at 7/8, or the 8ths here. So it's the only kind of fraction strips that we can look at here. So let's see here. Let's look at the fraction strips that have the fifths on it. Well, if we're going to estimate, because it does say estimate, that's what we're doing here. We're estimating sums. When we're estimating, it's always a good idea to estimate to 0, 1/2, or 1. Those are kind of like your benchmark measurements when you're estimating. So when you look at fifths here, I know that 2/5 is close to 1/2. So this is 1 whole, this is 1/2. I know that 2/5 is pretty close to 1/2. So 2/5 could be a string That might help us get to our total 1.5 yards. Let's look at 1/6. There's only a string that's 1/6, so I'm just going to shade in 1/6. Well, is 1/6 closest to a half? Is it closest to 1 whole? Is it closest to 0? Well, obviously, I'm only right here, right? So it's actually close to 0. So I'm gonna make a little note here. So this is close to a half. This is close to a 0. Let's look at 7/8. I'm gonna go ahead and shade in 7/8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is a string that is 7/8 yards long. And obviously when you look here, it's closest to 1 whole. So this is closest to 1. Okay, well now it's pretty clear what 2 pieces of string that Jack needs for his 1.5 yards. Did you figure it out? Well, he needs 1 string that is 7/8 yard, and he needs 1 string that is 2/5 yard. That'll be as close as you can get to 1.5. So if we add 1 plus 1/2, we get 1.5. Okay, so that's how we do that. You'll learn how to actually add these 2 fractions exactly like they are later in these lessons, and also with Khan Academy. Okay, so that's our first part of our lesson. I'm going to go ahead. Now we're going to do some guided practice, actually using number lines. So I'm going to erase this. So pause it if you need to write this down for notes. Okay. All right. So imagine you had your workbook, your textbook with you, which you don't. That's fine. I'm going to write some problems on the board here, and every time I write a problem, I'm going to do a couple for you, and then I want you to try some on your own. Okay. So the textbook says we're gonna estimate these fractions. We're gonna estimate them either to 0, 1/2, or 1 whole. Right? Those are the benchmark ones. Okay. So if we have 9/10, and it says to use a number line to show how you would estimate that. Well, here's what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna draw a number line. This is a horizontal number line. I'll do some vertical ones like we did in class. The 10 is telling me something. It's telling me that I need to divide my number line into tenths. Okay, so here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and this is 1 whole. This would be your half mark, right? Halfway between. Okay, 9 of the tenths. Well, if you're going to plot that on the number line, you're going to plot it right over here. Here's 9/10. Well, now you can visually see that 9/10 is closer to 1 whole than a half and 0. Okay, so this would be estimated to 1 whole. Okay, so that would be your answer. The other trick is here, when you look at fractions, this is if you didn't feel like doing number lines, which this is a good option though, is look at your numerator. If your numerator is more than halfway to this number, then it's always going to be closer to that 1 whole. Okay. If it's less than half, it's going to be closer to 0, and then of course half is half. Okay. So that's 9/10. Let's try a fraction. Next one is going to be 2/5. Well, wait, that wasn't our problem actually. This one I'm going to do a vertical number line, so you can see the difference. Again, it's 0, 1/2, 1 whole. I know that my denominator 5 is telling me I need to divide this into fifths. Here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, here's 0. If I'm going to plot 2/5, here's 1/5, and here's 2/5 right here. The halfway mark is going to be somewhere right here. 2/5. Messed up my number line a little bit, but that's okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's 2. 2 is actually closer to 1/2. So that estimates to 1/2. So the answer would be 1/2. Let's try number 3. This is 1/8. Again, my denominator tells me my number line needs to be eighths. So here's 0. Here's 1. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The halfway point is here because 4/8. 4/8 is the same as 1/2. So, but this is the fraction. I'm going to plot it 1/8. Obviously, that's closer to 0. The answer is 0. So hopefully you can see that how you can draw a number line, plot the fraction, and then estimate. Is it closer to the halfway point? Is it closer to 0? Or is it closer to 1? Okay. These are some really good strategies for, especially if you know how to draw number lines. They help you a lot in trying to estimate fractions, adding fractions. Okay, I'm gonna erase this because I'm gonna give you some to try on your own. And then you can pause the video, try it out, and check back for the answers. So the ones that I want, so the next one, this is question number 4. This time we're gonna actually add some fractions. We're gonna go 9/10 plus 5/6. And we want to estimate the sum of these fractions. We're not going to find the exact, we're going to estimate. The little tilde, the little squiggly equal sign, that means estimate, okay? Well, in this case, since I have 2 fractions that I need to estimate, can I just draw 2 number lines? That's what I'm going to do. So my first number line is going to be the 9/10. So I can draw, again, here's my 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. This is 9/10, which is closer to 1. So this could be rounded to 1. 5/6. Here's 0. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here's 5. 5/6 is closer to 1. So 5/6 is also rounded to 1. 1 plus 1 equals 2. So 9/10 plus 5/6 is going to be about 2 wholes. 2. Okay. Again, looking at the 9, how close it is to 10, that's automatically 1. 5 to 6 is automatically 1 as well. Okay. Okay, question 5 is now we have a subtraction one. 11/12 minus 5/6. Okay, you can draw your number lines again. Got to go ahead and do that. Pause it, work it out. I'm going to continue with the answer. This one, I need a longer number line because I need to draw 12s here. So here's 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It's 1. Obviously, 11 of those is right here. That's closer to 1 whole. So that's 1. 5/6 is up here. We already know that one. Do we have to draw it again? No, because it's 1. Well, 1 minus 1 equals 0. 11/12 minus 5/6 is going to be about 0. The actual answer is going to be a very small fraction, though, if you actually do work it out. Okay, 2 more. You guys are hearing me okay?